shalom, Shabbat shalom. Yeah. Shalom, beloved. Hey, how's it going? If you're wondering why there's no comments from the last video, at least by the time I post this, I don't know, maybe I will have gotten to them. But if not, it's because I haven't gotten to the comments yet, and I have to review them before they're allowed. Also, if you have tried to open my website for my music, it is currently down. So I am sorry about that. You can still find my music, but you'll have to look it up on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon. I know Amazon, right? But it's unfortunately what I was connected to even before I knew about how Amazon worked. But there's that. And speaking of Amazon, it makes me think of what I was talking with a friend about, the other Amazon, like the jungle Amazon. Because actually I was talking to one friend, remembering a conversation I'd had with my sister actually years ago, and then I ended up bringing up two other friends, and now to another friend, and now I want to ask all of you your thoughts about this. Okay, I know this is not the Torah portion, but it is part of the Torah, and it came up in my thoughts today, kind of random maybe, but when Adam and Eve became aware of their nakedness, it was after they had sinned, right? And then they were trying to cover themselves. There are cultures in the world today still that it's normal to not wear clothes or hardly any clothes. It's not considered bad, it's just the culture. So I question, how is it that they don't feel ashamed or want to cover their nakedness? Why is it that we do? And then I thought, well, it is true, although some people there in these cultures now are hearing about the gospel, it is true that many are not walking with God. But then I know there are people who are not walking with God who still want to cover themselves. So I just have this question of how is it that they don't feel, I had this question, how is it they don't feel ashamed? But then it's like they're not ashamed of sin either. There are some immoral things that do happen in some of these, communities of people. So I just curious, what are your thoughts? Because then as I was talking with my friend, and I do believe it's intertwined, because when Adam and Eve were walking around without clothing, they didn't know about evil. There was no concept or understanding of sin. Everything was perfect. So sin had not entered their mind, or even the perspective of how their body was. Which also brings me to another thought of the fact that I am certain that Adam and Eve never had one negative thought about their body and how they looked. Today we live in a society that's obsessed with appearance, how you look, and just a negativity towards how you are. And it's not the way God created us. He didn't create us to be like that. We're to have a healthy perspective of ourselves, and to be reminded that we are made in the image of God. Amen. We are. You could point out different features or things about yourself that you don't like, and you have to remember that you are basically saying that about God's image, because you're made in his image. And what the world considers unbeautiful or unattractive, it's silly, because what is attractive or unattractive differs between different people, different thoughts, and God doesn't see people the way we do. So it's very few times in the Bible, very few times that there's any reference to someone being beautiful or fair. It is mentioned a few times, but very few. And another reason for that being that in Jewish understanding, you go by a person's character and not their actual outer appearance. Sometimes it is intertwined. Sometimes somebody happens to have a beautiful heart and they're beautiful on the outside. And I can't help but wonder if sometimes that's also what it's saying in the Bible. I was talking to another friend of mine about what is it in the Bible that is considered, or what things are like literal and what things are like a picture for us and not literal. Because I believe there are things in the Bible that are like that. And what are those things? Certain things. I know in Revelations there's a lot of questioning about what is it that is literal, what is it that is like a picture of what something really is. Like the dragon, for example, and how in the spiritual realm certain things are identified in something we know physically, which there is history documentation to support that there was in fact a dragon-like creature. So that's pretty amazing in the Bible too. I can imagine that to come face to face with such a creature would be a fearsome thing to behold. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. And if that creature still exists under the water, I don't believe that it was intended to be a creature that stayed in the water all the time. So I don't think that the one that is mentioned in history is still, I know some people think so, but I don't think it's just submerged underwater right now. Well, there are a lot of scary looking creatures that are submerged under the water. If you've ever taken the time to look at fish and creatures that live deep under the sea and in places where scuba divers and people can't reach without special equipment, there are some scary looking critters down there. I mean, I don't know, I feel like it would be amazing to see them up close, really, but also kind of chilling because they're just so foreign and scary looking. There's that one that's got like, it's see-through, but it's got like teeth and eyes that are like tubes. Really weird. I forgot the name of that fish, but it's like you don't want to see it in the dark water and yet you want to see it at the same time sort of feeling. But anyways, so yeah, basically, as I'm getting off track here, what I was saying about this is I'm curious to know, what have you thought, or if you've thought about this, why, one of the questions being, why is it that in other cultures there isn't a feeling or a sense of nakedness, and they are, whereas Adam and Eve did, but then as one of my friends pointed out, that they didn't know evil, they didn't know sin, and suddenly there's sin, and there's like that physical and spiritual intertwining, because it's like they were physically naked and they wanted to cover themselves spiritually. Their sin had been exposed, the sin had taken place. And the question, I guess, being, how does that apply to also other cultures today that have no shame in being uncovered? I think about that too with cultures today that are covered but are showing lots of skin. I know some people get kind of touchy about this because they say how immodest, and yet there are cultures that as a culture, they don't even see it as immodest. It's just as a culture, there's more skin that's showing. And maybe other things would be considered immodest, that is true for a lot of cultures. I know that where my mother was from Puerto Rico, it's an island that's very hot and sticky, and a lot of people are showing skin not because they want to flaunt something, but because they're hot and sticky, and it's just a cultural thing to be showing more skin. But it's not to say that there aren't those who do have the desire to show more skin. But yeah, my mother wasn't like that in the culture. I'm very proud of my mother. She raised my sister and I, all of us kids, because I know this is the same for boys too, to have a modesty perspective and to be modest, and I'm really thankful for that healthy perspective of oneself. That's really, to me, what it goes back to, is that a healthy perspective of oneself. But again, everybody has different interpretations of modesty. I know some people who think it's not modest for a woman to even wear pants. She should wear a dress all the time. I don't think that's a show of what modesty is. I think a woman can wear pants and be very modest. I just, but there's that understanding. I think, of course, it also depends on the kind of pants. I mean, if you're wearing pants that have like huge holes where you're where your buttocks is at, then that's probably not very modest. But at least to me. But that's not what I meant. I mean, you know, just regular pants. Yeah, because another thing that people don't talk about is how modesty is also to be modest, and then the people who, you know, if you fall into temptation of lust, there is something in your heart that has to take place to not fall into temptation of the lust of the heart, and also something in your heart that where you desire to be modest, you desire to cover yourself. Yeah. Anyways, so interesting topic, interesting thing. Feel free to write in the comments. I wanted to make this a live chat thing. Right now, as I'm recording it, I'm not sure if I will be able to. We'll see. I'll see if I can. But I don't know when I will have this posted. It probably will be after Shabbat. So I'm gonna say Shabbat Shalom because I'm recording it before Shabbat, but you'll probably see it after Shabbat. Yeah. What else was I going to talk to you guys about? I think that's all I was going to say. I just was going to say that. Oh, well, thank you to those of you who have sent mail. Blessed me. I need to respond. So sorry to you if you have written or sent and I haven't responded yet. I've just been so busy and I haven't had a chance to write to you guys. So please bear with me. I have received some beautiful things. I'm so thankful. I thank you again. I thank you for all of your continued support. You have no idea what it means to me. Bless you guys. Love you guys. And shalom, shalom. I don't know if I'll post this now or if I'll put it later. We'll see. But either way, Shabbat shalom. I love you guys. And yeah, bless you. Shalom, shalom.